If you're watching right now, did you get drafted yet? Huh? We're watching the NFL draft, seeing what's going on. We got a story about that coming up in just a bit. But before that, we want to talk about some things that are impacting some people around us. Did you hear about this? This is a tough situation. We talked about this row home fire, and now the people that work with this man, Jay Matthews, coming together. He works as a chef at Underdog Sports Bar. There you go. And he has been there for about a decade. The house where he was living in with his wife and some other people there, it burned down. Bottom line, he's got no place now. He said he's lost everything. And so some of the people there where he works coming together, helping form that GoFundMe, try to get him back on his feet. Now, the fire chief said the damage of the 2 row homes on North 12th Street was caused by an electrical fire that started in an illegally boarded house. They said that there was no working smoke detectors. So, it's a tough situation, but, people become like a family when you work together with people. And so they're doing the best they can to help him out. Once again, there's a GoFundMe. The guy's name is Jay Matthews. And they're saying they're also doing something special at this restaurant coming up next Monday as well. Well, did you hear about this? A defense contractor is suing an Adams County man who allegedly failed to deliver on millions of dollars worth of explosives and powders intended to eventually help our allies in Ukraine and Israel. So one of the people here in Central PA was supposed to deliver on that and now being sued for, they're saying, not doing it. So the suit was filed by the Bazell Corporation, a Wyoming-based defense contractor to the U.S. and NATO allies. It's against Ryan Morris of Wortana out of Adams County. Now, he's got a couple companies, Tripwire South and Tripwire Aviation. Morris is also, though, well-known in that area because he's a part-time Liberty Township police officer and a school board member for the Gettysburg Area School District. It's all in the lawsuit. It says that Tripwire was paid millions of dollars, but they didn't deliver on the artillery shells, rockets, landmines, and more. So check this interesting tidbit out at CBS 21. International implications for someone who was doing this kind of work, which is kind of interesting that someone right here was even doing that. Let's get to the NFL draft, everybody. It is Abdul Carter, maybe the next Micah Parsons. It's possible. Some people think he's that good. Edge rusher out of Penn State, Mr. Do Everything. He actually now just got drafted by the New York Giants, 3rd overall. So the classic number 11. That's the defensive spot. People like to get that number and carry on the tradition of being the most dominant linebacker on the field. Yeah, of course, Maryland highlights. Thanks for that. And so that's where he ended up going in the NFL draft to the Giants. So he'll be effective there. Giants don't have a lot. Defense is okay. We'll see what he can do in the upcoming years. That brings us to the wildfire situation. We're going to get to weather and bring Tom in here in a second. But the Forestry Department, they're monitoring these 2 wildfires, Tom. Micho State Park, they actually had some evacuations of the nearby people up there that didn't want to meet it because this stuff can move so fast. And that the situation is really, unfortunately, ripe for these kind of fires. Tell us about that a little bit more.
Obviously, we haven't had enough rain. Usually in April, we talk about those April showers. They just really haven't materialized. So we're about 5 inches behind for the year. And the back half of April here has been very, very dry. So you have all this fuel. That's the stuff sitting on the ground, the leftover leaves and the branches and all that. So that's the fuel for these fires. We've been very hot and dry. And then the atmosphere in the last couple of days has been particularly dry, that low humidity. So with the low humidity, now we have a southerly wind. The heat, it just makes for the perfect wildfire conditions. And what it really ends up being, though, Joel D, is usually somebody's careless with a cigarette butt or a leftover campfire or something like that. So we really, really have to be careful at this point. But yeah, this is unfortunately not a great situation.
Well, those people that probably, throw the cigarette butts out or whatever, most of the year it doesn't matter as much.
True.
But in these times, it really can. And I think the one that happened in New Jersey, it's getting a lot of attention. I think that was
that's bad.
A bonfire that just got out of control. They didn't put it out correctly.
Right.
Something else and goes bigger and bigger. That one's impacting the air all the way into Canada, I think.
Yeah. So, for example, with this storm or this fire, we have a southerly wind flow. So any of that smoke is going out of Cumberland County northward into Perry County. We anticipate that Cumberland County is going to issue some kind of air quality alert tonight, just to kind of give folks a heads up. So the best thing that can happen here, Joel D, is that we get some rain to both squash the fire, but also clean out the atmosphere at the same time. That's going to happen, but not until later tomorrow. So you're dealing with a whole nother day of very, very dry conditions. And this is tough, as you've been showing this video here. I mean, you're deep in the woods. So as a firefighter, how do you contain that? How do you maneuver people? They've actually, I don't know if you've seen some of the video, but they have those helicopters picking up the water out of the lake and trying to drop it on these fires.
I mean, they have entire crews that this is their job. They
Right.
put out brush fires and they know how to do it. But once
It's a
again, it's
challenge.
getting that water there, whether it's from the air or from ATVs, things like that.
Right.
It is a tough go. And some of those roads are crazy.
Yeah, you're way up in the mountain. I mean,
just
it's
to
really
get
hard
to
to get
this stuff.
Right. Right.
So it happens. It happens. All right. So the evacuation orders apparently still persisting even tonight. So you said rain tomorrow. What else you got for me?
Okay, so here we go into the weekend. Tomorrow's a pretty quiet day until about 4 or 5 o'clock. That's when we'll see some showers pop up. So we're still well into the 70s. Normal high this time of year, Joel D, is 67, so we're above average. Rain showers linger into the first part of Saturday, but Saturday is not a washout. I think by 9, 10 o'clock, that rain's moving out, and we'll salvage the second half of Saturday, and the second half of the weekend looks great. Lots of sunshine on Sunday. It will be very windy as that front comes through. And look at next week, we're right back to the heat again as we're pushing 80 degrees. So we really want a good soaking rain. I'm thinking hopefully about an inch out of this rainfall because, as you see, we're not going to get much rain through next week either.
Gotcha. All right, one note on the NFL is the draft tonight. Anything catch your attention?
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, Abdul Carter from Penn State going top 3. That's pretty cool. But everybody wants to know what's going to go on with Shedeur Sanders. I mean, here's a guy who was supposed to be number
Pittsburgh.
1. And Pittsburgh? Ever you guess?
It hasn't happened yet, but I'm thinking I'm hearing Pittsburgh at 21.
At the first round. Okay. We'll see what happens. I thought did you see the beginning with Clay Matthews came out and busted on the Bears? That was pretty good.
No, but that's always cool when they do this. Next year's going to be awesome. It's going to be in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
We should
the
go.
actual draft will be in Pittsburgh. It's going to be wild. Every year they set attendance records, 500,000 people, whatever.
I was shocked how many people. I mean, I think they tripled the size of Green Bay, Wisconsin tonight.
Right. It's a free event. I mean, they have one in Philly in 2017, I believe.
Right.
And so it wasn't that big then, but it was still cool. We went there. But it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger since then. It's just
you and me next year in Pittsburgh.
Want to go to Pittsburgh next year?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. I can do that. And then what would you wear if you were being drafted, number 1?
Oh, well, I mean, you usually outdress me on the TV set, so I might come to you for an advice. It would depend on what team maybe I want to go for. I'd wear their colors, perhaps.
Okay.
But I've seen some colorful suits tonight.
Very much so. And now is this is, I think, the first year, where these guys could have been paid in college already. And these top guys have been.
They got some money. I know what you're saying.
They're coming in as millionaires. They don't have to wait to have the big, awesome chains and looking good and doing everything.
Yeah, that's true.
That part's pretty cool. I don't know. I think I would wear a spray-on suit.
I'm sorry, like a skin tight thing? What are you talking about?
They would actually they would spray the suit on. It would be basically paint.
Painted on.
That's what I would wear. A painted on suit.
Okay.
Never been done. Probably a good reason for that.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm assuming that I'm a different person at this point, not the current physique, but that would be.
Jody, how do you take a painted on suit to the dry cleaner? Explain that.
Once. That's how you do it. You do it once. All right. Well, I guess and don't wear it out in the rain tomorrow either. You got painted on.
Good Lord, no.
Right. Hey, there was that song. She wore painted on jeans.
Painted on jeans. Yeah.
Billy Ocean.
Caribbean Queen. Yeah.
Billy Ocean. Painted on jeans. See?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. See you, man. There you go, friends. A little bit of everything on 21 next on this first night of the NFL draft. You remember the old Smokey the Bear, only you can prevent forest fires? It's a true thing. And especially in these times, it's definitely way too dry out there. So be a little more extra careful if you're having those tobacco items, things like that could cause fires. You don't think about it usually, but in this day, you do. In these conditions, you do. Imagine how terrible you'd feel if you start a wildfire that causes tons of damage and really impacts so many people. All right. That said, hope you have a great night. Be safe out there. And guess what? It's almost Friday. We like that. I'm Joel Dean, the place to be. Have a great night.